Broadcasting from the Princeton Orthopedic Associates studios in the home of the Zach Gelb Show. This is Fox Sports 920 The Jersey. WNJE Trenton, Philadelphia.
Ready?
It's time to talk sports. National, local, professional, completely unprofessional, high school and college.
Let's take it even further off the hook.
It's the Zach Gelb Show.
We are rolling
On Fox Sports 920 The Jersey.
Day number 4 on Radio Row. This is the Zach Gelb Show right here on Fox Sports 920 The Jersey. And now joining us, doesn't get more Philadelphia than this, Ron Jaworski, who joins us right now on Radio Row. Jaws, how are you?
We are here, the Eagles, playing in the Super Bowl, so obviously I am fantastic. Thank you.
As I told you when you came on with us in the Fanatic, that's a really lame question this time of the year to ask you, how are you? Of course you're in an exuberant mood.
Since you brought a question up, one of the first things I learned from Steve Sable at NFL Films. And Steve runs these seminars when he was alive. He passed away a few years ago, but he really is the rock of NFL Films. And he would have all the potential analysts in and the sideline reporters. We'd have a little seminar on how to handle things. And Steve said, you know what, one way to get fired? If you get to interview the MVP of the Super Bowl or a head coach and you go, how do you feel?
Exactly.
Everybody in the world knows how you feel.
It's the dumbest question.
You just won the Super Bowl.
Hey, you just won the Super Bowl, Malcolm Butler. You had the game-winning interception. No one knew who you were before this. How do you feel?
Oh, terrible.
Well, the fans here in Philadelphia, though, and in Minnesota, this has been a big story and everything, and the Minnesota fans, they're sour grapes. You know Philadelphia better than anyone. You know the passion of Philadelphia and how much this city wants to see their team win the Super Bowl. Just describe, after seeing it as a player, an analyst, and basically being, I like to call you the mayor of Philadelphia, the Philadelphia
I don't want
fan.
those headaches.
Yeah, that's true.
It's really interesting because we're here in Minnesota, and we just whipped the Vikings last week, and I was kind of concerned a little bit about the reception I might get, or Eagle fans here. And last night we played the Wounded Warrior amputee football game, which was phenomenal. Thank the people at Humana for their great support and sponsorship. And these are all Viking fans that were there. And when I was introduced, I definitely heard the boos. So I felt right at home here as a visitor to Minnesota. But as we all know, if you're in the Philadelphia market, our area, it's a great, passionate sports audience.
Second to none.
Second to none. And as a player, you know, I played 10 years with the Eagles, 4 years with the Rams, 2 years in Miami, a year in Kansas City. I've been in every stadium in the NFL. As an ESPN analyst, as a Monday Night Football analyst, I've been at all these stadiums, been around all these fans. Hey, there's always a couple knuckleheads. You got 70,000 people at every ball game. There's going to be some idiots, and every stadium has them. But the Eagle fans have such incredible passion for the Eagles and sports that it's unparalleled, and that's firsthand experience from me. And I would wish that the media would grow up. I'm tired of hearing about throwing snowballs at Santa Claus in the
lazy.
50s.
It's old.
Come on, move on with your life. You know, we're in the internet era. These guys still want to talk. Oh, they threw snowballs at Santa. Get on with your life, man. That kind of ticks me off. You know, because our fans been so phenomenal, and there was a reason we kicked Minnesota's
home field advantage.
The crowd.
Exactly.
I'll tell you, when Patrick Robinson took that interception back for a touchdown, whew, man, I mean, the switch went on. It was an ignition switch for the fans. And more importantly, now when I get the film the next day of the coach's tape, first thing I look at the sideline. Because I can see all 22 and you can see the sideline. And as Patrick was running with the football, you should have seen that sideline. It went freaking berserk, man. It was, and that's what I love. When I see the side, hey, I can show you tape of bad teams when they're bad and guys sit on a bench and they don't get up and they're not into the game. Yeah, I know it was a championship game. You should be into it. But it ignited not only the team, then the fans went crazy. And from that point on, I mean, it was a butt kicking. I mean, the Vikings just got their butt kicked from that point on after a great opening drive. But that one play ignited the team, and the fans had a lot to do with it.
The Barnett play was also huge, too, because Minnesota start to get a little life back. They're inside the 20, thinking they're going to score. At worst case, get a field goal, make it 14-10. boom fumble. That was also a major play as well.
No question about it. Turnover is going to cost you. You get in the playoffs, and quite honestly, the Eagles were lucky against Atlanta. We were -2. You
they
don't
got a
win.
Big fortuitous bounce before the end of the first half.
You don't win football games, particularly in the playoffs, being -2 in the turnover takeaway category, and we were, and we won that game. But when you get in games like this, they're not normally won. They're lost. You make mistakes, you're going to get beat. And we spend the Sunday, the team that takes care of the football the best will win the game.
Talking to Ron Jaworski right now on Radio Row. Hall of Fame announcement comes out this weekend. Someone that you played with, Harold Carmichael, I think he should be in the Hall of Fame. Why isn't he?
Well, I've been lobbied for Harold for years. I mean, there's no doubt in my mind. Harold was a guy that I always looked to in critical, clutch situations, and he normally came through. The politicizing of the Hall of Fame now is troubling to me. I know it's Saturday. It'll be let's make a deal. Sal Palantonio is a good friend of mine, and Sal does have a vote. And I know last year he was very upset the way things came out. I don't want to speak for Sal because he's smart enough to handle his own dialogue. But, he worries a little bit about, when presenters present their player, then sometimes they have to horse trade. Hey, next year I'll support your player. And my simple way of evaluating it, without going into the in-depth evaluation and study, if someone says, hey, let's see, Ray Lewis, I immediately go, Hall of Fame. Some other guys, I may.
Terrell Owens,
Hall of Fame. Then he may say John Lynch. I may think about it a little bit, so that means it's not a shoe-in to me. Let's go Steve Hutchinson. Yeah, great career. Usually a Hall of Famer, in my mind. I'm saying right or wrong. This is just, my head brain. I just kind of know if it's if the name is said and my first reaction is Hall of Fame, then he's probably a Hall of Famer. If I have to think about it and someone has to sell me on it, then he's probably not.
I know we only got 1 minute left with you, so before we get to what you're promoting today, which is a great cause, Nick Foles, you know what the criticism was in Philadelphia when he had the Raiders game and then the 4 drives up against the Cowboys game. People weren't feeling great confidence. This defense has been sensational, and Nick Foles has really taken that next step. How about what you've seen out of Nick so far in the postseason?
Even when supposedly Nick was not playing, well,
it was a team effort.
I wasn't worried about it one iota. Think of the Torrey Smith drop in the game where there's a quick slant. He's going to go for a touchdown. Drops the ball. I've known Nick since his days at Arizona. In my preparation for that draft, I studied all his tape. I spoke to his coaches back in Arizona. He comes to Philadelphia. I know all about him. I watch every game. I get to know Nick. He looks a lot like me, which is good or bad. I'm not sure. A younger version.
You look all right.
A younger version of me. But Nick is a rep quarterback. He's got to practice every day. He's got to throw every day. He's got to work with the starting guys every day. He didn't. In training camp, he was hurt. Didn't even suit up in the preseason. Under today's lousy collective bargaining agreement, you can't practice anymore. So he's not getting any reps with his teammates. All of a sudden, he's thrust in the starting role. Hey, it takes a while to knock the rust off. If anyone watched the last 2 games of Nick Foles, they saw a quarterback that was precise with his anticipation, his accuracy, and playing at a very high level. So I never worried about Nick Foles. If there was a concern, it was, can he get enough reps to develop his rhythm?
Before we let you on, Humana's Veteran Initiatives and Wounded Warrior Support, go ahead, my friend.
This is an awesome endeavor, and I've been involved with the Wounded Warrior amputee games for a number of years now. They play in Philadelphia before and after Soul games, and it's one of the most inspiring events that you will ever imagine. If you don't leave the place with a tear in your eye, then you haven't watched these guys that have defended this country in such a fantastic way. And by the way, the Wounded Warriors record is 18-0. My NFL alumni boys, we have not won a game against the Wounded Warriors, but without support from Humana and those organizations, we would not be successful.
You may need to put the Soul up against them. They may have a better shot.
No, they beat the Soul.
Ron Jaworski, we appreciate it. Thanks so much.
All right.
We'll take a quick break. Be back right after this on Radio Row.